Hello again and welcome back. It's In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral. My name is Ross Brierley, and many people have a line when the jump season really starts to burst into life. Some of them say your Weatherby's, maybe Cheltenham last weekend. But for a lot of people, it's when Venetia Williams has her first double or treble of the season. She had a couple of winners today, and we get excited about Haydock and Ascot and Punchestown this weekend. The National Hunt season is very much here and ready and raring to go. Of course, we've got the Betfair Chase over at Haydock. We've got some of last year's finest novices taking on some staying royalty. A big field there over that staying trip. We've got the champion hurdle without Constitution Hill, which might well be the champion hurdle again this season over at Punchestown, and we've got a cracking card over at Ascot as well. We see Ballyburn over the bigger obstacles. Look, it's all going on. It's going to be exciting stuff. As ever, we've got a top panel with you tonight to have a look at the jumps action, where a rare Paul Kealy, sort of good to soft. Betfair Chase meeting at Haydock. The rain still hasn't come.
It hasn't come, but it is coming. I think we're pretty sure that it will do. But how soft it gets is another matter altogether. Right? It's not going to be desperate, but then it's not always desperate there.
No, that is true. But yeah, we've got Grade 1 action. We've got also quite a few of those races this weekend where you find your future Grade 1 horses in a variety of disciplines as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got conditions hurdle races, conditions chases, graduation chase at Haydock. That's fascinating. And to keep me happy, loads of fiercely competitive handicaps too.
Absolutely. Tom Segal was not with us last week, as like I said, he was. I think you got 10 minutes for England against Greece, didn't you, Tom? I think everyone else seemed to. So I assume that's what you were doing. How have you been since I last saw you? Oh wait, hang on. We'll try that again. Unless you're. There's a wonderful mime act you did there. How are you? No, still not working. Can't hear a word you're saying. All right, lovely stuff. Thanks for coming, Tom. See you later. Right, lovely. Okay, we'll get Tom. Oh, he's back. He's back. There we go. Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay. I thought then for a second, maybe can we have? Maybe we can't.
I thought you were sitting on the edge of the sofa or something as well. What's going on?
He's in his office.
What?
You got a new chair?
Oh, I'm in my office.
He's in his office.
Okay.
There'll be a greyhound in soon, I'm sure, at some point.
Yeah. Greyhound coming in any second.
Try that again, Tom. How the devil are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Ross. Oh, look, I'm out of sync now. What's going on? Yeah, I'm very well, thanks. I missed you last week. Yeah, I watched the show, though. Very much enjoyed half of it. The other half was pretty rubbish, but there we go.
Yeah, which half was that?
A bit without me, obviously.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Fair enough. I mean, Rodders, he really raised the bar last week. Not necessarily in selections, but certainly in verve, in energy.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
Did he? Yeah. I mean, I thought you were saying raise the bar after the show. That's more like Rodders I know.
Possibly. But yeah, plenty to like about the weekend.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Great day's racing, isn't it? It's just it's a question of the amount of rain that falls. I mean, Punchestown's inspecting in the morning, isn't it now? Because they're expecting, the clerk, of course, said maybe 35 mil. So I know Keel says it won't get, but if you get 35 mil, it will be very bad. And if they get 20 at Haydock, I think it will be very bad too. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will indeed. And again, I can't do it. We spent 5 minutes thinking about the weather at the start of every show. So, but look, that's your job to try and to delve into the form and see who's going to react to the ground the best. David Stevens, good evening to you.
Good evening, gents. Hopefully you can hear me okay, Ross?
Unfortunately, David, loud and clear. How have you been?
Well, I've been good after. Joe, I don't think I've chatted to you since I tipped the Cesarewicz winner at 33-1.
That is true.
33-1.
You did
lost the race, obviously. Won the race, lost the race, lost it again, won it again. But we all got paid out anyway. So.
Well, that's what happens to the universe when you tip a 33-1 winner. It's you almost bring the entire sport down.
It was a shock to me more than anyone. You may lose me around 6:15 this evening, just for a minute or so, because we've got Phoenix of Dreams running for the Coral Racing Club up at Newcastle at 6:15. He won at Redcar last time, a Frankelesque 1-10. It was the most wonderful bit of race planning by the Quins that you're ever going to see to win that race. But yeah, 6:15 Phoenix of Dreams. Just don't come to me then.
All right, fair enough, David. In fact, we'll come to you about just 6. No, I'm going to come to you at 6:15. I'm absolutely going to come to you at 6:15. I'm not going to be able to resist. But anyway, hello to everyone watching at home as well. This is, of course, live and interactive. Like the show down on the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm talking about, but every little helps in that regard. Darren Walker, Sandra Seed, Steve Dickinson, Vince, Richard, and many, many more. But we'll be getting stuck into it in just a second. But don't forget, it is a safer gambling week, of course, here at the Racing Post. And we've got plenty of things you can use on the Coral website to keep your punting in check, David.
In the industry here, I mean, it's called Safer Gambling Week, but of course we don't just want people to gamble safely for 1 week. We want people to gamble 52 weeks of the year safely. We want them to enjoy it. And that means if you feel you've got any issues at all, the first thing to do is to seek help, because there is plenty out there. Obviously, we run betting shops. You can always talk to the staff. If you're online, there are all sorts of tools in place. You can obviously set deposit limits. You can track your activity. I think that's the key is if you've got any concerns at all, just don't ignore it. And as I say, we want people to enjoy their gambling, and the best way of doing that is to do it safely.
Absolutely. Safer Gambling Week here at the Racing Post. Okay, there's plenty of resources for you there. Right, let's go sensibly and analytically into the weekend's action then. Like I said, we've got Ascot, we've got Haydock, we've got Punchestown, we've got lots more going on. But we do have, breaking news all over the shop. Constitution Hill, like I said, plenty of people saying that the Morgiana this weekend would be the champion hurdle without Constitution Hill. Again, we had a champion hurdle without Constitution Hill in 2024. A lot of people think we might well do in 2025, Paul Kealy. It's a funny old world, isn't it? Because, about 18 months ago, we thought we're going to get bored of talking about this horse winning every race he turns up in. And now people are starting to wonder if he'll turn up in any races again.
Well, not surprising, really, is it? I mean, we had the Gallop. I mean, I think sometimes Nicky Henderson can make a rod for his own back, can't he? But, declaring that he was satisfied with it when everybody could see that he didn't work particularly well, having to be chivied along to keep up with Sergino at the end. And it wasn't the greatest surprise in the world that he's now a non-runner or hugely unlikely to make the fighting fifth hurdle next week. I know Nicky Henderson was saying people are trying to retire him too quickly. I'm certainly not trying to. And, I think most, I think there's a worry though, isn't there? I mean, there has to be. He was very ill last year. He's had another problem now. So what happens with him?
I mean, Nicky is kind of the master of sort of Lazarus-like returns with top class horses.
Back. I mean, he got to see you then to win 3 champion hurdles years and years ago, and he was lame every other day.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? He won one first time out, didn't he? Like, you know what I mean? So it's I think we can be a little bit spoiled by some of these horses that keep coming back year in, year out and winning race after race after race, and you forget how easy it is for something to go wrong. And of course, he's had an awful lot go wrong. Let's hope he does get better. If he doesn't, he's probably just fallen short of being the best hurdler ever.
Yeah, because it was all set up there for him, Tom. But yeah, it is a funny one, and like I said, yeah, this part you do kind of have the sort of the opposite feelings at the same time. Like you do. Personally, I sometimes look at these national hunt races and think, I'm sure we've talked about this exact race 3 times, and there is a bit of your brain that gets a bit, like I said, a bit complacent about that. But yeah, I think we'd all be pretty damn gutted if we didn't see Constitution Hill on the track this year again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was at Ascot today for the first couple of races. A friend of mine's horse was running, so I went along to Ascot and I actually bumped into Nicky Henderson, had a long chat with him. He was absolutely devastated. He couldn't, he was really, really upset. And this is where people, I think, go wrong when they discuss the horse and Nicky Henderson's role in it. I don't think anyone, they seem to sort of cast aspersions about Nicky Henderson. Nothing to do with Nicky Henderson. The horse is lame. Do you know what I mean? And maybe he's too precious about the horse, which is why people get sort of cast these aspersions about never running again. But you've got to remember, there's hundreds and hundreds of horses in training that are out for years on end.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That happens every day. You see horses with 365, 400 days off the track. He hasn't even been off for a year yet. You know what I mean? And people are saying everything's gone wrong. We'll see. Hopefully he's back. He didn't work very well. Of course he didn't. But Sergino's a pretty good horse, let's not forget. And, I think, look, it's just because he's so good, people talk about. People want to see him. Everyone wants to see him. Anyone that's interested in horse racing wants to see Constitution Hill back racing again. And hopefully we will. And if we do, I'll be the first one there cheering him on. I mean, it just gets me a little bit down there. Everyone always has a go at connections when these sort of things happen. And it's not their fault.
No, and you are a bit damned if you do, damned if you don't in this game, aren't you? If you open up and you're honest and you give details, people think, oh, well, here we go, this, that, and the other. If you don't say anything, it's like, well where's the trainer? Why isn't anyone saying anything?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, but the point I was making is that it was quite clear that he hadn't worked well. So why declare yourself satisfied?
I see what you mean.
You know what I mean? That was what just surprised me, because I mean everybody could see that he struggled. I mean, he didn't work any better than he'd worked in Kempton, did he?
Right. I see. You think it was a bit of a.
You know what I mean?
Why put the sort
it's
of?
It's probably in a little bit. It's probably a little bit being in denial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I suppose you can understand. He loves the horse, and let's not forget, one thing Nicky Henderson does is he absolutely loves his horses and he gets emotionally attached to them.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of protectionism there as well.
And I guess the interesting thing for me always is if you, especially with public gallops like that kind of thing, if you had to publicly gallop all your horses, how many?
Don't they do that in America?
Say that again.
Don't they do that in America?
Well, yeah, but here, I mean, how many times would you have a similar thing where you'd have 20,
That's
30
it.
horses?
Oh, you'd have loads, yeah. You'd have plenty,
That's it, Ross. That's the point. We don't actually know how badly he worked. It looked bad.
Yeah.
It looked bad, but we don't know what the weights were. We don't know how fit they were in comparison. We don't know. He might have been very satisfied with it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He might have had incredibly low expectations and actually was like,
he might have been going there thinking he might finish 3 or 4 lengths behind him here, or 5 lengths behind him.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He obviously was pushed along, and Sergino could have obviously gone clear, could have gone well clear. But I think we're expecting sometimes too much. From these gallops, you sort of want Constitution Hill to go 15 lengths clear. Well, that's probably never going to happen.
Yeah.
If they ran in the champion hurdle, he probably wouldn't put 15 lengths, but go miles past Sergino. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't think he was necessarily sort of fabricating the truth on.
Yeah, he didn't say. He didn't say. I'm absolutely thrilled to bits. That's exactly what I expected. I mean, satisfied, like you said. It's. Yeah, and partly we are feeding this fire as well. But anyway, David Stevens, for the next 3 minutes, can you talk about this subject? No, I'm joking. What's it before we move on to the weekend though? How betting for the Champion Hurdle, how's it affected that?
Yeah, he's gone from being 6-4 favourite not so long ago to being out to 5-1 now, and that's fair enough. While there are these doubts over him, you might turn out that 5-1 is an absolutely huge price. I think the thing about it is that Tom's just said there, that piece of work, we don't know what we were expecting, or what they were expecting, I should say. And let's be honest, with the best of the Irish all running in the Morgiana tomorrow, he could have rocked up at the fighting fifth, probably 80% fit, and won it doing handstands. So it wasn't all about, Newcastle, it wasn't all about the work this week. So look, I want to see him back. I'm sure all racing fans do, because at his best, he's potentially up there with the Istabracks of this world. But at the moment, obviously, there's a big doubt over next week. And I think until then, it'll be a case of holding all bets for the Champion Hurdle.
Okay, thank you very much, David Stevens. Lovely stuff. Wrap that up at 6:14. You really are a pro. Right, let's go on to the weekend's action then, shall we? Like I said, there's loads of races we could be talking about, and maybe at the end we'll throw in any other horses to keep an eye on as well. But we'll have a look at the 115 at Haydock to start off with. 2 miles and 3 furlongs the distance here for this 15-runner handicap hurdle. It's a bit of a cracker, really. Beat the Bat 9-2, Steel Ally 5-1, Camsinas 6-1, Josh the Boss 6-1, 9-1, Punta del Este, 10-1, Bowens Park, 12-1, Night of Allen. Any harm in asking is 12-1. And then it is bigger prices the rest, including last year's winner Park and Ansiard at 14s. You've got a Ben Poiling horse who's got course and distance form in fine casting as well, and a couple of bigger prices. Lovely to see Don Levant still strutting his stuff at the age of 11. He's a very big price, but let's hope he just has a nice day out at Haydock. But yeah, we've got... I mean, I do love a big field handicap hurdle, and this is a potential cracker because you've got Beat the Bat, of course, as an exciting novice last year. Camsinas, who drifted like a barge and bolted up last time out. Josh the Boss's form looks much better after last weekend, of course. Really good race skills.
Yeah, I can't believe he came to me. I wanted to watch Dave's horse.
Oh, right, fair enough. Really good race, Tom Segal.
No,
I was going to go straight to Mr. Stevens.
Look,
someone must be excited about this race.
I like this race. I've backed a couple actually.
Tell us more.
I was surprised Josh the Boss isn't favourite because the way he dealt with Diane Quest first time out was pretty impressive, wasn't he? Thumped him by 4 lengths. Now I know Diane Quest has improved for the step up to 3 mile, but I mean Josh the Boss, he always looked like he might be well handicapped because he looked very promising early last season before losing the plot a little bit. They won very easily. It's not like that Silver Trophy is often a very good race. I remember Imperial Aura finishing second or third in it a few years ago, and before becoming a really good novice chaser, and it's worked out really well. The third one had listed Mare's Hurdle by 10 lengths next time. The sixth has won, so a few further down the field. Virtually everything that ran in it has run really well since. And yes, he's up £7, but I think he deserves it. He'd be worse off with the runner-up. Sorry, my mum's ringing. Be worse off with the runner-up if they ran again. And yeah, I think he's got a favourite chance in what is obviously a really, really tough race. Bowens Park is the other one. I'm back for Henry Daly.
Yeah.
I thought he was quite interesting. That was from
that's a man who's watching on a significant delay, isn't it?
From 1 or 2. I mean, that must have been Dave Stevens. Does that mean? Oh, he wasn't worried about me watching the horse. I bet his horse has just got chinned, isn't it?
He has just got chinned, beaten ahead, I think, into second place. So yeah, maybe third, but yeah.
Right, he wasn't listening to me, unfortunately.
Right, yes. You thought he was going?
I thought he was going to tip Bowens Park. Yeah, and he wasn't even paying attention. He was watching horse. Right, okay.
But Bowens Park, who
in any case, he was a good bumper horse.
Yeah.
In fact, he's fourth in the Aintree bumper. He's one of those horses that really shouldn't be languishing off a mark of 122 in handicap hurdles. No. And he didn't, after he bolted up first time out last year, he went off evens for the Grade 2 on this card, and he fell, and it just went pear-shaped for him the whole season. But I thought he shaped really, really well when third to Camsinas last time on ground that would have been too quick.
Yeah.
And trainers put first-time visor on. Since 2021, I think 7 of his 10 runners in the first-time visor have finished either first or second. And it would have been 8 because he had a fall or 2 out that was going to win. It would have been 4 wins, 4 seconds. So he's done pretty well with a first-time visor, and this is also, he has a bit of a high head carriage. I don't think he's entirely straightforward. It might well suit him, and I certainly think he's got a handicap mark to go to war with.
Yeah, and he's had 4 winners from 9 runners in the past week.
Yes, exactly. Well. Henry Daly is bang in form.
My only slight concern with him is he's come twice here to Haydock and had bad experiences both times. That's my only. It might be coincidence.
That is true. It might be. Yeah, and hopefully it is. But yeah.
I do have a soft spot for a Henry Daly Hemmings horse since Billy Vodden. Billy Vodden. That was.
Yeah, and of course he won the big 3 mile handicap with Stony Mountain.
He did. Yeah. Okay, couple against the field then for Keels. Tom.
Yeah, I backed both those last time. Josh the Boss was obviously a nice winner at Chepstow. I thought Bowens Park didn't try very hard. That's why I think the visor's on.
Yeah, he didn't look straightforward, did he?
No, he didn't look very straightforward. I thought he should have won that the other day. He was very, very strong in the market at Aintree. He went from like 7-1 into about 5-2, and then I think drifted a little bit on the off. And it was interesting, the market that day, because Camsinas was a massive drifter. He was the favourite in the morning, and he started 6 or 7 to 1. It's one of those races, Gills, where you get where you sort of, you're watching it and you think, oh well, if I could have another go at the race, now I've got the SC, I'd be on the other one. What I mean?
Wasn't he a 5 to 2, 3 to 1 favourite when you would have been analysing it, Tom? I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And he started 7 to 1, and he won very easily. Now, I don't know what to make of drifts like that, because it seemed to me that he was. My first thought was that he wasn't ready for the race, but he's always, clearly that wasn't the case. It was a race Fergal O'Brien had won a few times before. I think he's still got some upside, Camsinas, so I'd throw him in there with the 2 Keels said. Beat the Bat's obviously quite interesting as well. He was. I've got people coming in the door. Don't worry about them; they're just the burglars.
Hello. Cup of tea, please. At home with the Segals. Love this. Anyway, sorry, Tom. Carry on.
The bat for Harry Fry is obviously interesting. Just seem the fewer Harry Fry's needed the run, so he's back. I like, if the rain arrives and it becomes sort of good to soft or whatever. If they get the rain, they're thinking. I do like a horse that's had a run in those sort of conditions at this time of the year. So I think Josh the Boss was so impressive. He's got to go well again. But I sort of think Camsinas might confirm the form with Purpose Park, and I thought he'd run well as well.
Okay. Plenty as a field then. Steel Ally has got rock solid form as well. I thought he was quite interesting, and like I said, the conditions will be a little bit interesting for this 115 at Haydock. Right, David Stevens. We've got 15 runners here. How many places have we got?
We're 4 places each way. Phoenix of Dreams just got done in a blanket finish, has ended up looking like he might win and then finish 3rd. But it's a terrific run anyway. Well done, John and Sean Quinn and Jason Hart. 4 places each way. I like Steel Ally, 2nd in the Welsh Champion Hurdle. I don't know if you want it absolutely bottomless, so I don't want too much rain there, but Sam Thomas and Dylan Johnston teamed up for a nice winner at Ascot today, and hoping they can have another one there.
Okay, thank you very much. That's 115 at Haydock. Like I said, it's just slightly odd timing-wise, isn't it, when you get to the jump season at this point, because the meetings sort of start at 12 o'clock. You've got some good races at 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then some of the feature ones are already in a bunch at 3 o'clock later on. So, but we're going to rattle on over to Punchestown for the 210, the Morgiana hurdle, of course, Grade 1, with a big field, or admittedly. There might well be 2 races going on at the same time here. State Man 8 to 11, Lossiemouth 5 to 2, Brighter Days Ahead is at 9 to 2, and then a big jump out to Daddy Longlegs at 22, Segal at 28, Winterfog 33, Smooth Tom and No Looking Back are 100 to 1. Outsiders from one Smooth Tom to another. Then as we look at that, as we go to the cheapest goggle box. Family we've got the Segals. There we go. Got we can't even get a proper camera in, but we've got the webcam in the Segals home for the Morgiana. State Man 8 to 11. Now, again, we've been talking about Lossiemouth. People have been saying, why didn't she go for this race? She should be in the Champion Hurdle. Finally, we're going to get this matchup that people have been banging on about for the past 12 months or so. But State Man is still, on paper, on everything we've seen, still a considerably better horse than her. Is 8 to 11, 5 to 2 about right for you?
I think Lossiemouth will drift a bit. It's probably a right on form. I think it's a good bet in this race, and I think Brighter Days Ahead will beat them both. I really do. I think if ever Brighter Days Ahead is going to beat these two, it will be tomorrow. There's rain forecast. She's had a run. She stays better. She likes soft ground. Obviously, State Man's very dangerous, but it's his first run of the season. Factor File got beaten. Ballyburn got beaten on his first. I know State Man's won this race twice before, but he beat. They were terrible fields. He beat. He was 1 to 4, and he beat. I can't remember the name.
He beat Echoes in Rain, Phil Duderi, and Pied Piper, who would all have a cracking chance in a handicap hurdle, but not up against them.
They would be 100 to 1, wouldn't they? And the year before he beat Sharjah. So. I don't know. I think this is by far his toughest test in this race. And if ever he's going to be beaten, it will be by one of the mares tomorrow, giving them £7 in what could be very testing ground. Obviously, we don't know that yet. But as I say, there's an inspection at Punchestown. So if they get the 20 mils of rain, it will be soft. And I think Brighter Days Ahead has a cracking chance. I'm surprised. I think 9-2 is a very, very big price. She's fit. The form of her down Royal Run is obviously not State Man level, but it was pretty good. She had a penalty. She had a Grade 1 penalty, and she beat King of Kingsfield 5 or 6 lengths. King of Kingsfield was placed in a Grade 1 novice hurdle. I think she's got a cracking chance. I really do. I'm quite keen on her at 9-2 tomorrow. I just think tomorrow is her day. And if ever she's going to beat them, it will be tomorrow. The worry I've got is Jack Kennedy got injured in the last race at Tipperary. Was it today? Can't remember. I think so. Yeah, he was fleet. He'll be all right to ride by today. But whatever, I think she's got the stamina, she's got the ground, she's got the fitness, she's got the weight allowance. Okay. She's going to do it. It'll be tomorrow.
Okay, thank you very much, Tom. I mean, the one time in the past 10 years that Willie Mullins didn't win this, it was Elliot Kennedy and Gigginstown with Abacadabras. Brighter Days had a very different horse to him, of course. Do you think State Man will get beaten?
No, probably not. It was 3s on anti-post, wasn't it? It goes to show, one, how defensively priced they are, and two, what a surprise it was that Lossy Mouth is turning up. Would it surprise you if one of them needed it, which is why they're running? I mean, I know connections think Lossy Mouth has improved again, and she's summered really, really well, but I think she might need it a little bit, and I think State Man will be ready. Let's face it, February 22, since then, he has won 12 of 13 completed starts over hurdles, and the only defeat coming to Constitution Hill. He's a very, very good horse, extremely consistent. He has the best form. If I was a person who bet at odds on, I wouldn't think 8 to 11 is that bad value. I really wouldn't.
No, I mean he's rated. Obviously, you bring in weights and mares allowances and various
absolutely.
Things
I mean, it's down to readiness, isn't it? Brighter Days Ahead has the fitness edge.
Yeah.
But the size of these training centres now, it's not like they can't get them fit and ready, is it? You know what I mean? It's how fit they want them to be.
I do think it is interesting though. In the same, in the John Durkin on Sunday as well, though, and a lot, the Haydock race as well. We've been complaining about small fields and whatnot for the past couple of seasons. It's almost as if this weekend the trainers have gone, you know what, let's run them all.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. This is how it should be every time.
You probably worry about January now, don't you? When nothing will run at all because it's too close to the. Every year you go, too close to the festival becomes further away, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, possibly.
Get a few runs in early now.
But I would settle for that. If November and December were insanely good, and January and February are a bit quieter, and then it burst into life again in the spring.
No, this is fantastic. This is great.
It's exactly what it should be. Like half the field have got no chance, David Stevens, but it does mean that the each-way thieves will be out in force.
Yes, of course. And Kill's absolutely right. He was a 1-3 shot, but that was mainly because we didn't think Lossy Mouth was going to run. It's brilliant. I mean, it is a race to absolutely sit back and enjoy. As you say, wouldn't look out of place next March at the festival. I see both sides of the arguments that the guys have just made. I think both the mares getting weight. I mean, Brighter Days Ahead looked really, really good at Aintree when she signed off last season. We got Golden Ace obviously running in the Ascot Hurdle, who beat her at Cheltenham after this race, unfortunately. But equally, State Man just keeps on winning, and I still don't think he gets the credit he deserves. I couldn't back him at odds on. Is he the most likely winner for me? Absolutely, but genuinely, it's a race to absolutely savour.
Okay, GC's taken a bit of a curveball with winter fog to sneak into the frame for Willie Mullins. A 10-year-old who's been running over hurdles, over fences, and on the flat as well. Why not? Good luck with that one. The Morgiana hurdle then, State Man is an 8 to 11 shot for that Grade 1 contest. Coming back over to Britain for our next preview there. From Punchestown back to Haydock. We've got a 3-mile handicap hurdle here, and this is again one of the most insane, sort of mind-boggling lineups of 3-mile handicap hurdle I've seen in quite a time. Now, this is a race which often throws up a future Grade 1 winner, including last year's Cranbow, of course, as Graham Rodway would say. And if you go back far enough, I mean, almost every other year David Pipe would unleash a future Grade 1 horse in this. Doyen Quest is 5-2 favourite for the Skeltons. He is at 6-1 One Big Bang. Catch Him Derry's also a Dan Skelton horse in at 6-1 as well. Shoot First at 15-2 for Charles Burns. Patriotique for Evan Williams. 9-1 Push the Button for James. James Owens One Big Bang. So I just had the producer Shouts that in my ear, completely thrown me off. Push the Button is 9-1. Back and Resac Me is 11-1. Gwenny May Boy is 12-1, and bigger price is the rest there for this 2:30 over at Haydock. And I believe we also have a price boost, David Stevens.
We certainly do. Harry Skelton obviously rides the favourite here, Doyen Quest. Harry to ride 2 or more Haydock winners tomorrow was odds on 8-11, is 11-10. And I should also just add, we are playing 5 places each way in this race.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got Skelton running 3 of his best 3-mile handicap hurdlers. We've got Emmett Mullins, we've got Charles Burns, we've got Owen Griffin and Stuart Crawford sending, and we've got James Owen Improver in here as well. And that's what, only 5, 6, 7 of the horses, and then there's the rest of them all got a chance as well. This is a mad lineup.
Yeah, it's a fascinating and very, very strong handicap hurdle. It's interesting, isn't it? Doyen Quest 5-2. What price will he go off? There's a question mark about the ground with him. Because obviously it was decent ground at Cheltenham last time, and he has been pulled out on soft ground in the past. But we do know he's miles better than his mark. He's £5 well in under a penalty. But it's not going to surprise you. There are a few of these are miles better than their marks. We just haven't found out yet, and that's the issue. Shoot First was obviously going to go off. He's 15-2 there. Was obviously going to go off about 5-2 for the Pertemps final in 2023 before getting injured. He's off the same mark. The stewards inquired into his running when he came back after nearly 2 years off. Looking rather eye-catching, so it'd be no surprise if he's fitter and more vigorously ridden tomorrow.
Your favourite word, by the way, the trainer did say he was satisfied with the
ride.
Absolutely
satisfied, yeah. The Emmett Mullins won the race last year with Slate Lane. He's got Back Me or Sack Me, who is interestingly handicapped. I mean, he made his debut in a Grade 1 race at Punchestown last season, I think, and then got beaten further in a maiden hurdle next time out, and has run at Southwell, I think, since as well. Who knows how good he's going to be now he's in the first handicap. Patriotic was very eye-catching in that silver trophy. That's worked out so well, and will appreciate going up in trip, I think. But so will Push the Button, and I quite like Push the Button. He won going away over 2 mile 5 on soft at Warwick last season, beat a pretty good horse of the Skeltons. And he only ran, that was only his 3rd start over hurdles. He was finished then for whatever reason, but he came back, ran at Cheltenham 2 mile 4, good ground. And he was on the back foot a long way out, but I thought he was really willing staying on 5th. And he's by a Ledger winner, Kingston Hill, out of a Cave Tower mare. And I'm just hoping that he will improve just as much as Doyen Quest did. For the step up to 3 mile. I think he looks very much like he's going to, and he's only had a handful of starts over hurdles, so I think there's a lot more to come.
Okay, Push the Button then is a 9-1 shot here. Plenty of others. I mean, we haven't mentioned Kerry Hill was very interesting on that horse's novice form. Tom, he looked a bit of a monster. We're dotting up at Doncaster, and even his Kelso form. We beat Cadell, who's mid-130s over fences after only 1 win there as well. He could be a very exciting recruit. And I thought the other Skelton was, the biggest prize one is Gwenny May Boy, who, I don't know if it's jockey bookings and whatnot that have maybe made that one at 12-1, but Charlie Todd rode this horse on his last two wins, and yeah, it's just a really good race.
It's a great race. You can make cases for nearly everything in it. My personal fancy is Catch Him Derry for Skeltons, which we haven't really talked about. I think the Skeltons are the best around at targeting horses for handicaps these days. We saw it just last week with Doyen Quest. That makes me think that maybe this is Catch Him Derry's race, because I don't think they're under. I don't think this is sort of. I don't know if it was the original plan for Doyen Quest to come here after running at Cheltenham last week. Whereas we know this has been Catch Him Derry's target all season long. When he went to Newton Abbott, they talked about coming to this race. He loves soft ground, so the more rain that gets, I think Twist and Durrell's very good value for a £3 claim as well. So, of the Skelton lot, he'd be my favourite Catch Him Derry, without a shadow of a doubt. I do like Push the Button a bit though, as well, as Keel said. I just think 3 miles, it's going to make it. It's just going to suit him down to the ground. I think they went. Gal Road won very well in this race for the team last year, despite smashing into every hurdle. I think this would have been the plan for a long time to Push the Button. As I say, I like horses that have been targeted at big races. So for me, those two will do it. But you've probably got 8 in here. You could say the same about. It's a fantastic race. Got to mention one big bang, for the ridiculously good James Owen, who seems to win every time I turn on the telly. He's winning another race somewhere, whether it be on the flat or over hurdles or in group races or in whatever, novice, juvenile hurdles, wherever. So you've got to give him a shot, because this will have been his target as well. The only thing you'd say, he did get beaten last time at Newton Abbot, and the horse that beat him is a 3 mile form.
3 mile chaser, yeah.
He's a 3 mile, you know what I mean? He's an absolute marathon chaser. So it was a little bit disappointing he couldn't win that, but he was probably getting ready for this. I think he'll have to step up, but he's obviously been very well backed in the past few days. So the Owen massive are all on, clearly. But I prefer Catching Derry of the ones at the top of the weights, and Push the Button, who's obviously contracted, would be my other one.
Okay, yeah. We've also got a horse on a is it a 7-timer or an 8-timer, I think, isn't it? A 7-timer, isn't it? Yeah, the Imposter, of course, who just won every single race he was in until about this time last year and hasn't been seen since. He comes off a 350-day absence. He's about 40-1, and he's on his last 6 on the bounce. Yeah, cracking race this, David.
Yeah, he's a 50-1 shot, the Imposter, the outsider of the field. Look, it was hard enough just trying to pick out which might be best of Dan Skelton's 3, add in a Charles Burns and Emmett Mullins and all the rest, and it's a really, really tricky. We're going to need all 5 places each way. I'm going to have a dart at one at a prize. Zane Knight, Lucy Wadham and Tom Cannon, won over the course and distance back in May, but has gone on softer ground as well than he faced in May, and warmed up for this, finishing a good third at Cheltenham recently. So 20-1 shot with the 5 places each way, Zane Knights.
Okay, Robert Blackburn says Zane Knights as well, and Twig at bigger prices. And Tom Leach says, Dorian Quest was my nap last week, not sure the track suits like Cheltenham, and that is an interesting point. Not necessarily sure I want horses switched off out the back and rattling home at Haydock. On to Ascot. Let's go over there, shall we, for the 245, otherwise known as the Ascot Hurdle, Grade 2 contest here. Golden Ace 2-1, Blue King Doru 7-2, Thunder Rock 9-2, Lucky Place 5-1, Salva 15-2, Colonel Mustard 9-1. Again, always a curious little race. This, of course, you've got your horses stepping up in trip from decent 2-mile races. You've got your 3-milers maybe starting off the season here this year. We've even got the added interest of Thunder Rock returning to the smaller obstacles after taking on some very good horses over fences. But Golden Ace was, one of the stories of the season last year for Jeremy Scott and Lorcan Williams. She beat everything that was put in front of her over hurdles. She's 2-1 to put it up to the boys here, which include a proper Ascot horse in Blue King Doru, a horse again in Thunder Rock who Keels, he's a bit in and out, but Ollie Murphy and Sean Bowen at the moment, they can't do any wrong whatsoever, and Lucky Place as well, who could be really interestingly. I say handicapped. Obviously, is a grade 2. I would have exploited that mark of 140 personally, but maybe that's a tip of the hat to him.
The thing about 140 these days, it puts you on the brink of grader class in Britain, doesn't it? Because
true.
There aren't many. Name a handful of 150 horses. You can't. Well, they just aren't.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to go up that high. I think the highest rated in is 147 or something, isn't it? The only one I'd rule out here is Colonel Mustard, not on form grounds, just because he doesn't like winning.
Yeah, he really doesn't like winning, does he?
I was at the prices. I know the ground might be a bit quick if the rain doesn't come, but I was tempted by Salva. His only defeat last year came in the Triumph Hurdle, and I think several people, myself included, was thinking it's probably not a vintage year for Triumph for the juvenile hurdlers, but the runner-up Cargese or Carguess or whatever you want to call her, she was second to Sergino at Aintree. She won the Punchestown version. Nürburgring came out and ran. He was fourth, ran out, came our way and ran away with the Galway hurdle off a mark of 139. Salva was ahead of him in third. I don't think he's a bad price at all. In what is a very, very tight race. Blue King Daru obviously goes very, very well at Ascot.
Yeah.
Golden Ace, is that really, really strong traveller, and may well have won on merit against Brighter Days Ahead. And if she did, then she's a good thing here, isn't she? A lot of people think that Brighter Days Ahead just didn't make it enough of a test. But yeah, it's a tight little.
Yeah, again, it's interesting. I do, like you said, Blue King Dory. We talked about horses for courses last week at Cheltenham, Tom. He's a proper Ascot horse. He beat Strong Leader, of course, last year, who ended the season winning in Grade 1 company. But I do think Thunder Rock's very interesting because he's got a right old engine. But you see him over fences sometimes, and I mean, it was sublime to the ridiculous. But he's
going to call him what I think you're going to call him, Ross.
I was going to leave it to you, but he's a contender, isn't he?
He's in there. He's in there
for the top 10 Lummox of the year.
He's not top 10. He's not top 10, but he's a new entry. Let's put it like that. New entry at 12.
What did you make of this?
I like Thunder Rock. I do. I'm with you. The thing about Golden Ace is that if you read the paper tomorrow, Jeremy Scott says that she had a little issue, and he thinks 2 miles 3 furlongs, if they get the rain, might stretch her on her comeback run. And if that's that is the worry with her. She seems quick to me. I mean, I know she stays this far. She's proven she stayed this far. But if the rain comes in a better race, do you know what I mean? With the fitness doubt, with the worry about her not being at her best with a long season ahead, I'd be slightly cautious of taking the 2-1. Blue King Darrow, he's got plenty going for him. He's just got a penalty. I just thought Thunder Rock might be the one for today, for tomorrow, even for this race, just because I think he's going to be bang on for it, and I'm not sure there are many in there that are going to be bang on. And that's what I think about these graded races at this time of the year. I'm half trying to find the horse that is going to be at their best on this day, not who's going to be at their best later in the season, if you see what I mean, or who have the best form, perhaps. And I think Thunder Rock might just be the one that is going to be absolutely spot on for the race tomorrow, and therefore he would be my selection.
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, it does feel like Ollie Murphy might have thought, look, we've got a good horse on our hands here. We've like I said, the strong leader, of course, did run very well last year. It does look, a very sensible place to start, doesn't it?
Yeah, strong leader had been chasing as well, hadn't he? Now, he is a Lummox. He's right in there as a chasing Lummox. But I think they tried him over fences as well, didn't they? So it's not, these horses can come back. They are more versatile than people give them credit for.
Okay, over to you, David Stevens, for the Ascot Hurdle.
Yeah, love Golden Ace. She was one of the stories of last season, wasn't she? And it'd be great if she can kick on from that this year. But obviously interesting what Tom's just said about Jeremy Scott's comments. Blue King Daroo, this is a day that Paul Nicholls always seems to have multiple winners on. And this one will be absolutely cherry ripe for it, I'm sure. But under that penalty life might be difficult. I'm another one in the Thunder Rock camp. Not worried that he's dropping back to hurdles. Can mix both well enough. And he goes well fresh. And the yard, as you said, are absolutely flying. So Thunder Rock for me, but I mentioned this is a day that Paul Nicholls always seems to do well on at Ascot. Paul Nicholls have 2 or more winners at Ascot tomorrow. He's got Pic D'Orhy, of course, a shorter price in an earlier race. It's 2-1 from 6-4.
Yeah, of course. It was this card last year, wasn't it? Harry Cobden, there was all the talk about Haydock versus Ascot, and Harry Cobden came here and won on every ride. Is that? Am I remembering?
Yeah, he didn't go to ride Brave Man's Game at Haydock.
Yeah.
And he was proved absolutely right, because Brave Man's Game didn't win at Haydock, and I think Harry rode about 4 or 5 winners at Ascot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 4 from 4, if I remember rightly. But yeah, on the chat, Robert Blackburn, James Day, Matt Coppen all agree that Salva is the bet here. James Day says Salva from the front. Ross and me will love the. He says the heavy ground won't be caught, so he's expecting a lot of rain at Ascot. That is for sure. Okay, plenty of opinions then in the Ascot Hurdle. What are your opinions in the big race of the day, the Betfair Chase, a Grade 1 contest, of course, over 3 miles, 1.5 furlongs it is, which often, when it gets really bad at Haydock, can feel like an absolute lifetime. But so we'll see again what the weather does and what it does to this field as well, whether they do all turn up, because it is a cracking lineup if they do. Grey Dawning 5-2, Royal Pagaille 7-2, Ahoy Signor 11-2, Limerick Lace 8-1, Brave Man's Game 10-1, Capodanno 11s, Hewitt 12s, the real whacker is 12s, and what have we got? What's the other one? Of course, Gold Tweet is the outsider of the bunch, but it's still very, very interesting, coming over for another raid over from France. But this is what you want to see in a race of this nature, isn't it? You want to see, novices take on experienced horses. You want to see mares getting involved in this race as well. You want to see a variety of form lines challenged at the highest level throughout the season, really, Tom. And if they all turn up, this is what we've got. Of course, Grey Dawning's been talked about a future Betfair Chase and King George and Gold Cup horse for a long time, but you've got horses that have kind of been there and done that up against him. He's 5-2 favourite though, and he's a very, very exciting horse.
Yeah, absolutely tremendous horse, isn't he? He was brilliant last year. It's just he's a price thing, isn't it? I mean, I think he's got to improve again. I mean, I'm not sure his form has worked out that well from last year. It was good, but without it being sensationally good. You know, Ginny's Destiny got that the other day, didn't he? And I'm not totally convinced about the level of his form in comparison with the Grade 1 pretty proven chasers. And the last 2 seasons, he's improved for a run. He got beaten by Stay Away Fade, didn't he, with the Changing Man, right. Oh, he might have been beaten by the Changing Man as well then at Exeter on his debut last year. That is nowhere near good enough. Now, Harry and Dan Skelton on record as saying there was a reason for that. They were getting him ready, and this has been his plan. He's ready, he's fit, he's going. But he's still got to get there for me. I think 5-2 is plenty short enough. Roll Pagaille, obviously last year's winner, has a big chance. The only thing is he had a bad injury when he fell at Cheltenham last time. Once again, I had a chat with Anish and she said absolutely no problems. He's fit, firing, ready to go. She's expecting a big run from him. But he has been off since having an injury. I know he likes Haydock. Not sure. Ahoy Senor is a horse that I've always loved. He's provided me one of my best days ever when he won at Aintree at a huge price once as a hurdler. So I could see him going really well. I just hope they don't hold him up.
Yeah, I mean, this is the other thing. But it's not if he guns off in front. He sometimes, he's belted a few. He's had some bad experiences. He's not the smoothest of careers since he went over fences, has he? He's clearly got a huge engine, but they're still struggling to kind of get everything right at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I read a report about that they held him up at Aintree because that's what they wanted to do with him from now on. Maybe that is the right thing to do. I don't know, but I don't know. Round Haydock, I'm not sure I want horses out the back. I just don't like good chasers being out the back ever. Full stop. But especially round Haydock. So that would be my worry. If they ride him like they normally ride him, I think he's got a very good chance. Limerick Layside, I don't know. I think she's up against it myself. Brave Man's Game, I can't. You wouldn't fancy him to win this, especially if the rain comes. Capitano seems like it's his sort of second preference. They wanted to go to the John Durkan and then Corbett's Cross didn't make here, so they've come here. Not sure about him. The real whacker wouldn't want any rain, but it's probably too big a price. Same with Hewick. What about the Frenchie? Gold Tweet. Loads to find on official ratings and on chase form. But watch Backney's race last time against the French Gold Cup winner. He wasn't half eye-catching. He was still on the bridle 2 out, and the jockey didn't do much for another furlong, and then he sort of flew home over 2 miles 6. Not many of these would have won the Cleve Hurdle, I don't think. Some of them would, but he did beat Dashel Drasher, who went on to finish second in the Stayers Hurdle. I think he's quite a big price because I know this has been the plan. This is, they've been getting ready for this race. If ever he's going to win a race, it'll be this one because there's just a few doubts about the others, bar really Ahoy Senor, I think, if the rain arrives. And I'm just not sure what I'm going to get from Ahoy Senor. So at the prices, I wouldn't be surprised if this is another one for the Frenchies. Gold Tweet.
All right, okay. Nobody's tweeting anymore, Tom. Oh, everyone's getting off there now. Maybe you're a year behind. But anyway, great dawning fight to here. Gold Tweet, the outsider of the bunch. I mean, it is, again, obviously the weather might will change proceedings, but, will the real whacker do what he did last time out? I mean, Limerick Lace is interesting. She's second favourite for the Grand National.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I don't think anybody really thought she was going to stay in the National, did they? I mean, obviously she went off her price. I mean,
I can say someone did somewhere.
I mean, it was bonkers. I mean, she was winning 2.5 mile mares chase at Cheltenham and expected to stay 4 1/4.
I mean, she finished a clear second in the Troy Town, so this should be all right.
This should be okay, but she has it to do. She has it to find. She's one of 3 Cheltenham Festival winners in the race. There's 2 King George winners at double figure prices, so it's a very, very good race, isn't it? And Grey Dawning is, other than Gold Tweet, Grey Dawning is the one with the most to find on Chaseful. Yeah. He does, of course, have all the promise in the world, whereas none of the others do, because they've been at the top and they're having a fight to stay there now. So he's the coming force. Wouldn't surprise you at all if he won. But I was impressed enough with the Ahoy Senor. I mean, I thought if Derek Fox had actually got after him, a bit earlier in the home straight, he'd have won, and he'd have given £20 to a very good, very well handicapped horse in Manila Drama, who'd gone close off a higher mark in the race the year before. So I think that was a really good run. I mean, the question is whether he is just an out-and-out Aintree horse, because now 5 of his best 6 runs in his life have all been at Aintree. But at least Haydock is flat and left-handed. So, you know, you've got some hope there, and it doesn't worry me if they drop him in. I don't buy that you can't win from certain areas on any track, to be honest. I mean, it's just a case of the way the race is run, and if it's run strong enough and he's out the back, and he travelled well, and he jumped better than he has done for ages, and maybe they have got him right this year. You know, that first time out run was his best ever by a country mile. Well, you know what I mean? We're not talking about £5, we're talking about £20. You know, so it was you know, it was really, really good, and it could have been better if they got stuck into him a bit earlier. So on RPRs, he's got no issue with soft ground. No, I really don't think it'd be cue card bottomless if it rains tomorrow. It's not going to be anywhere near that. It might get soft, but I don't think it's going to be proper winter deep ground by any stretch of the imagination. So I think that'll suit him. And I just thought there were, you know, more positives about him than there were about a lot of them.
The one we've kind of all danced around here, and I know I set the show up in this nature, but it's not normally my style to look at a horse like this. But if I said to you, there's a horse in here who's 4 from 5 at the track, has run to an RPR of 170 plus 3 times. You know, he's incredible fresh. The yard have just burst alive today and had a double. You know, conditions will be absolutely perfect.
I mean, you know, he's the horse to beat, isn't he? He
is the
horse to beat. And I spoke to Rich Ritchie's racing manager a couple of weeks ago, and he said that he, you know, yes, he did fracture his shoulder at Cheltenham, and it took a while to get over. But he was actually in Venetia Williams' yard a lot earlier than most of the horses, so he's gonna be ready. You know, and this will be the big aim. Yeah. I mean, I think you're probably daft if you don't have a saver on him, to be honest. Like, you know, it's just that I thought, you know, I want to give a Hoist Senior a chance to be a really good horse again.
Right, and that's nothing to do with.
He gave me the impression that, you know, he was in the old run.
Yeah, and that's nothing to do with the fact that you got back from Spain yesterday.
No, absolutely not. No,
that's just.
Can't wait to go back.
You've been saying a Hoist Senior all week. Okay, the Betfair Chase. Yeah, again, if they all turn up and the rain doesn't completely wash away the Haydock home straight, but it has done in the past. We're in for an absolute crackerjack here, David.
We really are, yeah. It's one of the most sort of intriguing renewals of this race I can remember. Look, Grey Dawning's the one that could be the best UK Gold Cup hope. This is where we'll find out tomorrow if that's realistic or not. Royal Pagaille was an 8-1 shot at the start of the week. Now he's clearly a lot shorter now. But for me, he's still just the most likely winner of this race. This is his track. Venetia's obviously, as you said, has hit form today. Plenty short enough now. That's the only thing at 7-2. But I do think of these, as we stand for this race tomorrow, may not the future, but this is his race. But French Horse has been well back, but now I know why. That's Tom's doing. He's into 14-1 that one. But yeah, look, it's got everything. This race. It's got 3 Irish runners, and if you think an Irish horse will win it, it's 130 from 5-2, but it's Royal Pagaille for me.
Lovely stuff, Royal Pagaille 7-2. Plenty of opinions. Hoist Senior for a couple of people, Mark Southern, and also Derek Cannon. Good evening to you. There's a Hoist Senior for me, and would have been for Lord John Budden as well. Derek, mutual friend, what an absolute legend our noble Lord was. Very promising first run and a more fitting distance. So good luck with a Hoist Senior. A couple more to run through then in depth, and then we'll throw anything else into the mix over the weekend because it is a very good weekend. The 320 at Ascot is a 2-mile handicap. Chase and Martin Tour is 15-8. Favourite here. Sonbui 7-2, Copmas 6-1, Milder Torisi 7-1, Triple Trade 10s, Ferrari Dames 11s, and Prince Quayle 12s, Harper's Brook 16-1 outsider of the bunch. We've got some quirky customers in here, that's for sure. And as ever, I mean, look, I don't think I've ever seen a 2-mile handicap chase at Ascot where the finish isn't incredibly nail biting, Tom. But given a few of these, a tendency to go off at 6,000 miles an hour. We could be in for, don't count your chickens over that final fence is what I'm saying. It could be a good one, this. What's on the list for you?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think this is the race I'm most looking forward to of the whole weekend. I really, really like 2-mile handicap chases. Interesting, Paul Nicholls put Sonbui in the Tingle Creek earlier in the week. His only entry. probably a testament to that he hasn't got any 2-milers, but it's still interesting that he put a horse that got beaten by quite a long way at Exeter in the Tingle Creek. I think he's going to improve a lot, and he might be hard to catch. But I like Cot Mask myself. I thought he was unlucky against Martator last time. Martator beat him quite easily. I know Martator's a little bit worse off the weights and has a £5 claimer on to negate that. But I just thought this was a Gary Moore special in the offing. I thought any rain will help. I don't think it really matters whether he gets rain or not. I was impressed with his jumping. I think he jumped a lot better. He actually got hampered when he made a mistake, or he got bashed into at about 3 or 4 out. Otherwise, I think he'd have been right on the heels of Master last time. And at the prices, he was my fancy. I think he'll go really well for Gary Moore Cotmask.
Okay, Cotmask, who was behind Master last time out, just ahead of Frere D'Arc, so we've got a bit of form coming in into the mix. What was top of your tree?
Yeah, I mean, our Cotmask has been one I've had down as being well handicapped for a while. I think he's got a big prize in him. And like Tom, I think that's the best he's jumped. Because he's got a mistake in him, but his only real issues last time were when horses got in his way. He ran into the back of Master Chewy at one of the fences about halfway, and the faster they go, the more he'll like it. I think he's going to stay a fair bit further than this 2 mile, one further. Probably he's already run over 2.5. But I'm sure there's a decent prize in him. He is actually slightly worse off with the rates from Martator because Caelan Quinn can't claim now, and obviously. There's a £5 claimer on Cotmask, but he's a £5 claimer for a reason. It's not Charlie Deutsch, and these races are, when they go helter-skelter at Ascot, they're hard to win, aren't they? So yeah, I'm a big fan of Cotmask, to be fair, just like Tom.
Okay. Quick word on another horse who, again, looks a slightly bigger price, especially another yard who are absolutely on fire, and that's the Tizzards. Triple Trade. This is his kind of race as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he was a tough horse last year. I just wonder if he's just at the slight wrong end of the handicap, might need to drop a few pounds.
Well, he's coming down to 132.
Yeah, well, I suppose
he was third off 135 last year. He's got cheap pieces on. I know he was beaten a long way last time out, but
yeah, I mean, I think there may be a couple in there with a little bit more ahead of him. Harper's Brook's the interesting one, isn't he?
He's always
the
interesting
lunatic.
one.
I mean, he'd probably be half that price if he hadn't run at Aintree last time. He just hated every minute of it straight away, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like, who knows what to expect for him? But I mean, he's won it actually.
He was one. He got chinned by Triple Trade last year.
Triple Trade last year, didn't he? When looking like he was going to win by a country mile. So yeah, interesting. But no, I like Cotmask the most.
Okay, 2 votes for Cotmask then from our pundits, David Stevens.
Yeah, I mean, I think Martator and Cotmask won't be far away based on their last run, and I think it'll be a similar story again tomorrow. Triple Trade's actually drifted out now to an each-way price. He was third in this race last year off a £3 higher mark. As you say, Tizzard horses are running brilliantly, and he won't mind any rain. So Triple Trade each way, but Martator and Cotmask have obvious claims.
Okay, thank you very much. Last race we're going to have a look at is the 340 at Haydock. 11 of them line up for this 0 to 145 staying handicap chase. Take your time, we'll have to here. 4 to 1, Hititi 6 to 1, Lamilos 13 to 2, Fontaine Collonge 7s, My Silver Lining 7s, Credo 7s, Dare to Shout 15 to 2, 8 to 1, Monbeg Genius and bigger prices the rest. Keith Melrose was in the office earlier on, and I said to him, "You're a staying handicap chase man." And he looked at it, he went, "Well, favourite won't be fit. Hititi doesn't want to win. Limilos, this won't be his race. Credo's interesting. Fontaine Collonge might win, and Keels likes Monbeg Genius." And I went, "Thank you very much. Do you want to host the show?" Absolutely rattled through it. So yeah, you like Monbeg Genius? Keels,
yeah,
apparently.
I do. I sort of agree with him about Hititi because I've backed him loads of times, and it just runs really, really well, but without putting his head in front. One of those, I don't know whether he's just one paced or he's just one of those that likes to follow one home.
But we talked about Limerick Lace in terms of national fancies earlier on. Monbeg Genius once upon a time was.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he was going to carry all before him last season, wasn't he? He was almost favourite for the Coral Gold Cup. Ran first time out at Ascot, absolutely belted a fence. Went going really well. It was about 4 or 5 out, I think it was, and then finished third in the Coral Gold Cup. So that's all right, Gino, and then his next 2 races were terrible, so he comes here £3 lower than when third at Newbury, £4 higher than when third at Kayak Rambler and Fast and Slow, beating only 2.5 lengths or whatever it was in the 2023 Ultimate. He's extremely well handicapped if he's come back, and the reason I like him was one that the John O'Neill yard is going much better this year than it was at this time last year.
Much better than they've been in the past 10 years, I think.
Yeah, I think they're really well. And, he is definitely a well-handicapped horse. I think he's still got an entry in the Coral Gold Cup, but I think the fact that he's coming here is they thought we could win this prize. Yeah. It's a realistic, winnable prize. And, I'm expecting him to run well. I'll be disappointed if he doesn't.
Yeah. I looked at this and thought this, then Welsh National might be the...
it could be,
and now in the Silks, carried plenty of Haydock and Ascot winners for Andy Turnell back in the day in the Tedham colours. Similar horses to Monbeg Genius. Michael Flips off the top of my head. I don't know why I'm going. Look, I'm 40 in a couple of weeks. I'm going into your mode, guys, of nostalgia from 10, 20 years ago. But anyway, take us back to the present, Tom Segal. What do you make of the 340?
Well, I've been Monbeg Genius's biggest fan for about 2 years after he ran in that Korak Rambler Fast or Slow Ultima when he was right on their heels, and he's clearly thrown in on that form. It's just whether he's going to be at his best today. I mean, John Joe's talking in his stable tour. He's talking about nationals down the line. He can't run too badly because he won't get in. He won't get in the Grand National. We'll get in the Welsh National. I presume that's his target. So whether today is his day, I don't know. As I say, I like horses that have had a run at this time of the season in these type of races. So I was going down there, didn't fancy Take Your Time. I actually think the mare, My Silver Lining, is going to run really well. She's only a couple of pounds off the mark when she was behind Man in the Grand National Trial at Haydock. And if you stop the race 3 out, she was going to win it by 3 lengths. And if you stop the Midlands National 2 out, she's 5 clear. I don't think coming back to 3 Mile 1 is a problem for her at all. Problem is she was pulled up on her comeback, but I think that's a throw-out race. Wincanton on probably good to firm ground was never going to be her thing. It was just the fact that she never really went. But I'm hoping that just blew the cobwebs away and she's back to the form she showed last year, because I think she's handicapped to win a race like this. I think Haydock suits her. I think the more rain, the better for her. But I'm not overly concerned about it, and I think she's quicker than people think. Because if you stop her races a mile from home nearly all the time, she's travelling better than anything. And there were some good horses in those races. She won last year, obviously the Warwick Chase and the Midlands National and the Grand National Trial here. Man came out and nearly won the Troy Town for his comeback run. So I think she's perfectly well handicapped off almost the same mark as she was racing off back then. Emma Labelle, I like her in this type of race, and I think the more rain they get, the better. And I think she'll run really well.
Yeah, agreed. The season almost maps out in the same way, doesn't it? And your tight left-handed tracks for her. And like you said, Emma Lavelle with Shotgun Paddy a few seasons ago. These front-running, strong staying chasers. When she gets a good one, she does pretty well with them. Okay, David Stevens.
I'm going to be more forgiving of Hatiti. I think he's just a really consistent sort ground. He's very versatile. I think the step back up in trip from his Chepstow reappearance will suit him. Horse that beat him at Chepstow came out and was no match for Gemeron at Ascot today, but beat everything else in that race. So Hatiti to finally get his well-deserved head in front.
Thank you very much, David. And just very quickly, we're going to get the naps in just a second, but we probably should mention the John Durkin on Sunday. The first time in God knows how long, Keels and Tom, that Galopin de Champs isn't favourite for a race of this nature. Fact to File versus Fast or Slow, Galopin de Champs, Spillane's Tower.
Not even second favourite.
Exactly.
Fantastic race, isn't it? Brilliant.
Again, another proper. This weekend is. This is whatever the National Hunt season would be absolutely fine if every other weekend or whatever we had this.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be really soft ground there, isn't it?
Looks like it.
I would back Galopin de Champs on that because it's going to be proper soft ground, which is what he wants.
Yeah.
And I think they can be aggressive with him.
He does tend to hate Punchestown, though. I guess is that the reason why?
Yeah, it's possible, but I think they can be. Yeah, but I think the times the races are run when he runs in them, it's not proper soft ground.
Yeah.
And it will be, and I think that's what he wants.
Yeah.
I mean, I would really take him on if we got a good ground Cheltenham Gold Cup, for instance. He's done well to get 2 really soft ground ones because that's what he wants, and he's got the ground he wants, and he's a big price for a horse who is very, very good on that ground.
Yeah. Okay, but and a big test for, again, it's a real test of the novice chase form from last year, Tom, with Fact to File. Again, people talking about him being the second coming. It's exciting stuff.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. I think Fast or Slow is probably going to win, though, isn't he? Isn't he just better than Galopin de Chance at Punchestown?
Yeah.
Better, isn't he? You know, I think he's a faster, slicker jumper than any horse, any staying chaser in training. I think 2.5 miles per for him. I don't think he'll care if it was soft. I mean, remember when he was second at Cheltenham in that Coral Cup, was it? You could hardly see the horses. It was so muddy. It was like, I don't think the ground will be a problem for him at all. I think he'll probably.
Yeah. Like you said, it's about what's the big day for the horse, and Fast or Slow does love punches down. Roper Guy loves Haydock. It's just that kind of weekend, isn't it? Okay, good stuff. Right, let's get the naps then on a mouth-watering weekend of racing. Starting off with the man to my left, Mr. Paul Kealy.
I am going to go Monbeg Genius in the last Haydock.
Okay.
I think he's going to come right.
Okay, Monbeg Genius in the staying handicap chase. Then Tom Segal.
I was certain he was going to go for Cock Mask. I was certain I was going to go for Cock Mask. I'm going to change at the last minute because I just think it's an interesting race, and I think it's an interesting angle. Brighter days ahead against State Man at Punchestown.
Okay, lovely. And I'll WhatsApp you when Cock Mask bolts up and chastise you for changing your mind. David Stevens.
I'm going to take Cock Mask now. Thunder Rock for me in the Ascot Hurdle.
Okay, lovely stuff. I don't really fancy much over the jumps tomorrow, but I think King's Code in the last at Wolverhampton will have a really good chance. He won a Boxing Day, show for us last year. But this is the thing we're talking about. Safer Gambling Week, and I'm knee deep in the all-weather form. Jump season, got time to develop yet. So let's hope David Evans doesn't win on a big day. But anyway, lots more to come, Keel. So enjoy your weekend, buddy.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, freezing, isn't it?
It is absolutely freezing. It is absolutely freezing. But anyway, you wouldn't know, Tom. You never leave your house. Anyway, good night, everybody. Thanks ever so much. Like the stream. See you next time.